Hey everyone, I'm Evangeline here at etrailer. Since really every RV rated bike rack fits every RV differently, we're focusing in on how the RockyMounts Gigawatt bike rack fits on the 2022 Dynamax Europa. So this bike rack is one of my favorites for RVs because it's a front wheel mounted rack. It has a lot of straps for different types of bikes, but most importantly, it comes with a ramp, which is super helpful for RVs because then your bike rack is going to be higher up and it makes it easier to carry your heavier bikes. However, focusing in on how this works on this specific RV, we're going to be looking at some clearance measurements that you're going to have to keep in mind to make sure you get the most out of this bike rack, as well as what your actual weight capacity is going to be since your rack is so far away from your rear axle. Let's start there. If you measure from your rear axle or your rear tire all the way out to where your bike rack is, that's going to be a measurement that will help you figure out on the sliding scale what your weight capacity is. Long story short, here we have 50 pounds capacity per bike, which is lower than its regular capacity, but still really good for most electric bikes. And as you load up your bikes, you also have to think about, will it actually fit onto this rack? So I had the bike on the further out cradle, but if we put the bike closer into the motorhome, you'll notice that it won't entirely fit. Because once we have that sitting into that cradle, you'll notice that our handlebars are making contact with our motorhome. And they're just a little too close where I can't actually get that front hook centered onto the wheel. So what's our measurements here? Well, from the motorhome to the center of the rack, it was around 13 inches. My handlebars from the end to that center stem are around 14 inches. So if your handlebars are shorter than mine, awesome, you're gonna clear. Or if your bike is about 4 inches, 3 or 4 inches taller than mine, which by the way, I have a medium frame or a small frame, then that might be helpful too. So hopefully that helps you figure out where you can organize things. If you have a larger bike, you can put that towards the back, and then your smaller bike, you can put that towards the front. This ramp is included. Now it doesn't attach to the bike rack, so you're gonna have to keep this in like a basement or something. But once you're ready to load and unload your bikes, you just put this onto that rear cradle. There we go, that fits into place there. And then we're going to get the bike up and ramp it up. So imagine if I had a 50-pound bike or just a bulkier bike, this is really helpful for getting it up into place. Still a pretty steep angle, but something that's very manageable for me. Once that front wheel is in place, then I just make sure that that rear strap is out of the way. Reach on forward, grab that front hook, and now we're secure. If I had fenders, then I would secure that hook down at the end of the fenders. Without fenders, you want as far up on that fork as possible. You also have these extra straps, again designed for fender bikes for extra stability, but it doesn't hurt to also put them on even with your regular mountain bike design. There's also a strap on the bottom that goes up and over and also secures in that tab. And finally, that rear strap, this slides back and forth, so you want to put it right where the wheel is at its lowest. And then we're going to bring this strap over, and then this one ratchets down. With our bike on there, we can see how much space it takes up behind our motorhome. Now, for measurements, I'll just measure from that bumper, just a little past that license plate, and to the end of the rack. This adds 36 inches or 3 feet to the back of your motorhome. Now, you already are dealing with a really large rig, so what's an extra 3 feet to the back? You can see here with the bike on that it doesn't obstruct our lights on the sides, and it does cover our license plate, but our backup camera there in the back still sees the things behind the motorhome. So something to be mindful of is if you do have this secured in or on a motorhome, please use the included RV bolt. That's this bright orange bolt. You're going to install it right in here as you install your bike rack. And this will prevent the rack from being pulled with this lever here to tilt away or fold up. Now you'll want to take that bolt out if you are using this on just a regular passenger vehicle, because you may want those tilting and folding positions. But on an RV, this adds that extra stability to make sure you're super secure as you're driving around. Now I'm not worried about ground clearance here behind the RV just because so high up we're not bouncing off against anything, but I do want to talk about how high your bike sits off the ground. So from the ground to that cradle, it's around 30 inches. Notice how our wheel dips down a little bit. Compared that to the bottom inside part of our hitch, which is 21 inches off the ground. So you can see why having a ramp included is super helpful. Again, make sure you pack that with your motorhome as you're packing everything up for your trip. This will be nice to have whenever you're parked and you want to go for a bike ride. I like the Gigawatt. I really wish we had a little bit more clearance here behind our Dynamax motorhome. There are solutions to that if your bike still is similar in size to mine and you want to carry up to 2 bikes. RockyMounts recommends using their 8-inch LS. That's their only rated hitch extension that is allowed to be used with this carrier. They still say that the weight capacity still applies of 50 pounds per bike. So just factor that in when you're loading this up. Double check the weight of your bike, double check your dimensions, double check your specs. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. That way you know before you get going onto the road if this is gonna fit not just your motorhome, not just your lifestyle, but also specifically your bikes. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out. And if you have some bikes that do fit with this combination on this motorhome, I would love to see it, especially since bikes come in different shapes and sizes. Any information like that will be really helpful, not just for me, but for all the other people going on their adventures too. But today, what you saw was a look at how the RockyMounts Gigawatt bike rack fits on the 2022 Dynamax Europa Motorhome.